now we're recording. So, my drink of choice this week, I'm stuck on these fucking Topo Chicos lime with mint extract. And if I'm saying it wrong, I am so sorry. But we're going to crack one open on the podcast mic because that just sounds nice. It just tastes fucking good, and it has fucking 5 calories, meaning it has 0 calories, because if something has 5 calories, then you better not track it unless you're eating like 500 of them. Anywho, today's training, actually, before we get into the training, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. So, housekeeping-wise, if you're watching this on the live training, I am rocking the new hoodie that we just came out with. One of the new hoodies. I have a ton of them now, because Zach hooked me up and hooked everybody else up who ordered clothing. So if you guys ordered clothing, it is on the way to you. If you have not received it yet, you will be receiving it this week. If you have received it, please post in the group. We want to know what you love, what you don't love, and, you know, we want to see you rocking that apparel. I heard from a friend that she saw some people rocking the Powerhouse Mentality logo at First Form's Summer Smash, and that made my heart so fucking happy because I love you guys. I love all the support that you've shown the brand in such a short period of time. And you know, this is just the beginning because we have a lot of incredible things planned out and a lot of things for you guys to make this the best damn experience that you can possibly get, and we can help you guys become better. But housekeeping wise, we got the new apparel, should be in your mailbox if it is not at your house already. And if you still want to order the apparel, go on over to the Powerhouse Mentality website. We still have a ton of stuff left for you guys to order, and we have some new things that we're working on, so stay tuned. But today's training, we got mindset week. So last week we focused on training and nutrition, where we spoke about the scale and why it is a damn liar. And this week we're going to talk about mindset, right? Because without a strong mindset, it's really hard for you to take action and do the physical things. So, big rule, all right, and this is where we're going to start. Make it a non-negotiable or a rule for yourself on your journey to never let your momentum get to 0. There are going to be times where you're running, where you're sprinting, where you're feeling good, and there's going to be other times where you're crawling through mud and you feel like you have cement attached to your feet. And that's okay, because as long as you keep moving forward and you never let your momentum get to 0, you're going to continue to get better. It might happen slower at some points in your life, but again, if you never let your momentum get to 0, you will always be successful. All right, even the most successful people in the world are never sprinting through their journeys. Sometimes we're crawling, sometimes we're crying while we crawl. It's fun. But there are 2 things that I wanted to focus on to allow you guys to implement that rule into your life. And it's 2 things that I say a lot to my clients. So if you are a client of mine, then you're probably like, oh yeah, I hear this all the fucking time. Number 1, I'll never expect perfection, but I'll always expect honesty and effort. And number 2, no problems, only solutions. And I say that last one so often, in fact, that my client and one of our very own, Sarah Zacharias, went ahead and created this, and it says, no problems, only solutions. So, I say it a lot. And I say it a lot because it's fucking true and it fucking works, all right? So let's get into it. Both of these things relate to momentum. And they relate to not just you building momentum, but you keeping momentum. So I want you to think of, when you think of momentum, I always think of 2 things. 1, I think of a small little snowball rolling down a giant ass mountain and gaining speed and gaining size so that once it gets closer and closer to the bottom of the mountain, it can start really knocking shit out. All right? Another analogy I like to think of when it compares to you building momentum versus you starting and stopping is a train. So imagine that you are a train. And you are a train with a mission to break through a brick wall. And that brick wall is coming in hot, right? You're getting closer and closer to this brick wall. Now, if you're constantly moving, you're going to be able to gain enough momentum to break through that brick wall. If you start, you gain some speed and then you stop, and then you start, and then you gain some speed, and then you stop, and then you start, and then you start. You're never going to be able to build up enough momentum to break through the brick wall. It's like life. If you do not build enough momentum, then once an obstacle gets placed in your way, which it will, because in life, it is inevitable that life will punch you in the fucking face. It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? And how hard, really, right? When life punches you in the face and you have momentum and you have these habits that you've built through consistency and focus to your goals and your process, you're going to be able to overcome and handle and navigate through that adversity a lot easier than if you were starting and stopping and starting and stopping, because when then life throws shit at you, that is just another excuse for you to fucking stop. All right? So many people quit or never actually start because they are afraid that they are gonna fail. Now, here's the reality, and maybe something that you don't want to admit or hear, but tough love is love, and I am the giver of tough love. I am the tough love Care Bear. But if you fear failure, that means you fear success. So if somebody tells me I'm afraid to fail, I say, well, cool, well, then you're afraid to succeed. Because you will not succeed unless you fail. Those who are most successful, those who end up doing great things in life, are not the ones who fail the least. It's actually the ones who fail the most, but get back up the fastest. So being afraid of failure is literally being afraid of success. Now, let's get into that first one and break it down a little bit. So I'll never expect perfection, but I'll always expect honesty and effort. Now, perfect is bullshit. And frankly, perfect is prison. All right? Your all or nothing mentality that so many people say that they have is an excuse to why you're not doing the work. That's the reality. Because so many people, I've heard it so many times, I have an all or nothing mentality when it comes to my health and my fitness. Okay, but you don't have an all or nothing mentality in other areas of your life. People say, I am just all or nothing. Great. Why are you like that with fitness, right? Why can't we just apply what you're doing in other areas of your life, right? Because you're not all or nothing in your career. You show up on days where you don't want to fucking go to work. You're not all or nothing when it comes to your family. There are some days, I know parents out there, there are some days where all you want to do is lay in bed, but you have a responsibility and an obligation to show up for your kids. So you do it. So why can't you do that for yourself when it comes to fitness and health? Maybe it's not going to be perfect that day. Maybe you don't feel like it. But you're going to show up and just do the best that you can given the circumstances that you have. Right? It's never going to be perfect. And if you continue to wait for a perfect time to start something or have a perfect plan, then you're going to be waiting forever. The reality is when it comes to taking action, you have to literally jump off the cliff and build your parachute on the way down. And that's okay because nobody has their shit figured out. Now, like I said, you don't have an all or nothing mentality to all areas of your life. And you are what you say you are, not what you want to become. So if you continue to tell yourself and say to yourself that I have this all or nothing mentality, or I'm always the dieter, or I'm always the fat friend, or I'm always the out of shape person, then that's the person you're always going to be. You don't become what you want to become, you become what you say you are. So start being able to build belief and confidence in the person that you want to become by taking action towards that version of yourself. You're not going to snap your fingers and just change your life. It's going to happen slowly over time. But small things done consistently over time compound to create massive change. But in order for the massive change to happen, you have to actually do those small things consistently. Those who are great just do the things that you do, but they do them consistently. You just do them occasionally when it feels okay. So you have to stop being afraid to take action or not starting because it's not perfect timing or you don't have the perfect plan. You have to start taking imperfect, messy action and always being honest with yourself and always being honest with the process and always giving your best effort because those are the things that you can actually control. You can't control if it's going to be perfect situations, right? Because the reality is nothing is ever going to be ideal. You're never going to have a perfect plan. But what you can control is your honesty to the process, your honesty to yourself and those who are helping you, as well as your effort towards the process. Now, the second thing, no problems only solutions. Now, I love this mindset of life because it is so damn true, and it works every single time. Because no matter how big of a problem that you have out in front of you, there is always a solution to it. Some problems are so large that that solution is something that you really have to dig down deep to figure out. But the reality is, that solution is there. Also, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I always say, but the reality is. Maybe it's because I just need you guys to wake up, have a snap of the finger moment. And the reason why I'm so harsh on this is because I wish I had somebody telling me this a really long time ago when I was kind of stuck. Okay, so I'm always super honest and blunt and straightforward with you guys because I wish that somebody was the same with me. Now, if you always see problems, then you're always going to be stuck. You're always going to get those problems back. What we focus on is what we get. So if we're always negative, you're probably going to get a lot of negative shit happening to you. So if you always focus on problems, you're probably always going to get a lot of problems happening. You kind of attract what you put out. All right, but on the flip side, all right, if you have that solutions-based mindset, you're going to have a more positive attitude. You're going to have more positivity brought to you, and you're going to have a happier life. Plus, when you have a more solution-oriented mindset, you have a more open, creative mind than if you're just shut down focusing on the problem. When you have that solution-based mindset, you become more creative to find the solution because you know it's there. You're not going to find something that's not there, so if you don't think that it exists, then you're probably not going to find it if you're always focusing on the problem. Now, this is kind of like thinking of somebody who has an abundance mindset versus somebody who has a scarcity mindset, or somebody who has a growth mindset versus somebody who has a fixed mindset. I think a lot of us have heard that before. So if you have a growth mindset, then you're always looking for ways to get better, and you're always going to get better because you're always looking for the solution, right? Versus somebody who has a fixed mindset, who's focused on the problem and always stays the same because they're afraid to get uncomfortable, which is how we grow. Now, these two things, you combine them, or you can do them one or the other. But if you take these two things, focusing on not perfection, but focusing on always being honest and always giving your best effort, as well as having a no problems, only solutions mindset towards your life, then you're going to be able to never let your momentum go to zero. Again, will you slow down? Yes, you will. Absolutely. That's what happens. You're never going to be sprinting on this journey. If you sprint, then you're probably going to fall flat on your face. But remember, it's not those who fall who don't succeed. It's those who fall and get back up the fastest. So my ask of you guys and my challenge for you guys is to implement the no problems, only solutions mindset the next time you're faced with an obstacle this week. And when you do and you overcome that obstacle, because I bet you will, I want you to post about it in the group and I want you to tag me. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear how you're taking the information that I'm giving you and how you're applying it to your life and how it's helping you. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I want you to implement the no problems, only solutions mindset the next time you have an obstacle that you're faced with. And I want you to send me a DM about it on Instagram. I want to hear you guys apply all of the things that I'm sharing with you in your own life. So this was a nice, short, simple, straight to the point one today, guys. I don't want to bore you with a ton of information and just repeat myself. But the reality is. But the truth to life is that a lot of personal development stuff is just the same shit repeated multiple times. Meaning that you should probably listen to it and probably apply it. Now, go out today, do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be. And for everybody in the Powerhouse Mentality group, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.